Yilan County Magistrate Zi-Miao faces 20-year sentence in corruption case. South Africa orders Taiwan to move embassy, faces potential retaliation. Taipei Dome faces penalties over ongoing leaks. Deadly attack at Turkish aviation company. Shootout in Mexico's Sinaloa state kills 19. U.S. McDonald's takes quarter pounder off the menu. Japan makes tepid push on gender gap in politics. Disney World hikes annual pass prices by up to $100.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, October 25th, and here are your top stories. And for today's Taiwan news, Yilan County Magistrate Zi-Miao criticized prosecutors after they sought a 20-year sentence and a 5-year loss of civil rights in her corruption trial. Ling accused the prosecution of fabricating evidence and intimidating witnesses, calling it a smear campaign aimed at destroying her and the public service system. The verdict will be delivered on December 31st. South Africa's demand for Taiwan to relocate its embassy in Pretoria by the end of October may trigger retaliatory measures, including chip export restrictions, visa limitations, and the expulsion of over 5,000 South African teachers in Taiwan, potentially impacting South Africa's economy. The Taipei Sports Department has demanded that Vainglory fix the persistent leak issues at the Taipei Dome by October 31st, or face daily fines of 100,000 NT dollars up to 3 million NT dollars. Deputy Mayor Li Sichuan acknowledged the difficulty in addressing the leaks, but stated that penalties would be enforced according to the contract if repairs are not completed. And in global news, at least 5 people have been killed and 22 injured in an attack at the headquarters of an aviation company near the Kurdish capital, Ankara. The Interior Ministry said that 2 attackers, a woman and a man, have been neutralized, adding that the attack had most likely involved the Kurdish rebel group, the PKK. No group has claimed responsibility for the attack. Turkey's defense ministries announced late on Wednesday that airstrikes had been launched against Kurdish rebel targets in northern Iraq and northern Syria.
Various videos from the attack earlier on Wednesday show at least 2 people firing guns near the entrance of Turkish Aerospace Industries, TAI. Turkish Vice President Cevdet Yılmaz said 4 of the victims were TAI employees, while the 5th was a taxi driver. Local media had earlier reported that the attackers killed the cab driver before taking his vehicle to carry out the attack. The blast occurred around the time of a shift change, and staff were directed to shelters. The PKK is banned as a terrorist organization in Turkey, the US, and the UK, and has been fighting against the Turkish state since the 1980s for greater rights for the country's significant Kurdish minority.
A shootout near the capital of Mexico's Sinaloa state killed 19 suspected gang members, while 1 local cartel leader was arrested, as intra-cartel violence intensifies. The deadly altercation on Monday took place just outside the Sinaloa capital of Culiacan, when a group of more than 30 gunmen fired on soldiers. Some of the suspected cartel gunmen fled the scene after the federal agents returned fire. 7 vehicles and nearly 30 firearms, including machine guns, ammunition, and military-style vests and helmets, were also seized.
Violence has flared in the western Pacific Coast state ever since the late July arrest of Zambada, after he was flown to an airstrip in the United States near El Paso, Texas, and promptly taken into custody by U.S. officials. The veteran cartel leader is believed to be in his 70s. He has alleged that a senior member of Los Chapitos, another faction of the Sinaloa cartel, kidnapped him and then flew him to the United States against his will. According to official data, the gangland violence plaguing Sinaloa is seen by security analysts as most likely pitting the 2 factions against each other, and it has intensified since early September, with around 200 dead and more than 300 others believed to be missing.
McDonald's has stopped selling quarter-pounder hamburgers at about one-fifth of its U.S. restaurants as federal health officials investigate an outbreak of E. coli that has sickened nearly 50 people in 10 states, killing one. A McDonald's spokesperson said the fast food chain sold about 1 million quarter pounds during the time frame in which the illnesses occurred. The company said it believes more people would have been sickened if the contamination stemmed from the patties themselves, adding that onions used on the burgers may be the culprit.
Most of those who fell ill reported eating quarter pounders from McDonald's, and investigators are working to confirm which food ingredient is contaminated. The company's initial investigation suggests that some of the E. coli illnesses might be linked to slivered onions used in the quarter pounder. According to a company spokesperson, McDonald's burgers are cooked at 175 degrees, above the 160-degree level needed to kill the E. coli bacteria. However, slivered onions used as a topping on quarter-pounder burgers sold in the impacted region were not cooked and came from a single supplier. The spokesperson said, "If that is the source, it will be the first time onions have been a carrier for this strain of E. coli."
Karen Mikishima is the only woman running for Japan's governing party in her 20-seat prefecture for the October 27th general election, reflecting the tough battle women face in breaking into the country's male-dominated politics. Her Liberal Democratic Party has promised to narrow one of the widest gender gaps among lawmakers in the democratic world. But even with a record one-fifth of all election candidates being women, it and other parties will most likely fail to hit the government target of 35% female lower house candidates by 2025.
Surveys show that societal attitudes toward women in Japan are a barrier, and some argue that the governing LDP is not serious about reducing the gender gap among lawmakers, citing its failure to implement bolder measures. Only 16% of LDP candidates in the upcoming election are women, compared with 22% for the opposition Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, CDPJ. Gender inequality may not be a major issue in the election, but the scandal-hit LDP, also facing an upper house election by July, needs every vote, as polls suggest it may lose its long-held majority. Between making stump speeches and posing for photos in her coastal constituency of Odawara, Makishima told Reuters that female candidates struggle to overcome societal views that the long hours and demands of Japanese politics are not for women.
If you are a regular visitor to Walt Disney World, your annual passes are about to cost more. The resort in Orlando, Florida, increased prices for all 4 tiers of its annual passes on Wednesday. The highest tier pass, the Disney Incredit Pass, now costs $1,549, reflecting a $100 increase from the previous price. The pass has no blackout dates and is available for purchase by residents outside of Florida. Annual pass holders enjoy free parking, discounts on food and beverages, and other perks, along with the benefit of not having to pay for individual tickets to the 4 theme parks.
Disney prices are highest during peak demand times, such as the Christmas holidays, and lowest during periods like the return to school in late August and early September. Price increases at Disney and other theme parks have become an annual rite of passage for customers. Gavin Doyle, founder of MickeyVisit.com, stated in an email to CNN Travel, over the past decade, Disney World tickets have increased by up to 101%, and the top-level annual pass has risen by 86%. If you're willing to invest some time and research, Doyle suggests that visitors can find ways to mitigate the sticker shock. He added, if you are willing to be reactive to discounts and travel during less in-demand periods, you'll be rewarded with lower crowds and prices.
The answer for yesterday was A, wedged. The rescue team had to carefully remove the climber who was wedged between 2 large rocks. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of Disney World hikes annual pass prices by up to $100. Number 1, blackout. 停电，失去知觉，消息封锁. The city experienced a sudden blackout, leaving thousands without power for hours. Number 2, mitigate. 减轻，缓解. The government introduced new policies to mitigate the effects of climate change. Number 3, reflect. 反应，反射，深思. Her actions reflect her strong sense of responsibility. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced next week. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. All right, see you next time.